Welcome to Speed Data, quick conversations with cybersecurity leaders. I'm your host, Megan Garza. My guest today is Brian Chanowski, the Deputy Chief Information Security Officer for Nuvance Health. Brian leads the cybersecurity strategy for Nuvance. In his words, to be successful at cybersecurity, you need to ensure that the common is done uncommonly well. Brian has more than 25 years of experience in a variety of leadership roles within the educational, financial, healthcare, and insurance industries, with previous roles at Travelers and Bank of America. Brian has his Master's of Science in Information Systems Engineering, is GIAC certified, and has had his CISSP since 2006. Brian, you've been in the game a while. How would you say the threat landscape has changed since you began your career?
Believe it or not, I actually started my career as a programmer in the late 1990s. So I remember the Y2K non-bug. I remember in the early 2000s, the I Love You virus and the Melissa worm. And I think things really started changing back in, right around 2013 with CryptoLocker. I remember that was probably one of the first ransomware type of attacks, and then follow that up in probably right around 2017 or so with the WannaCry virus. And what differentiated those two from the others is, I think, the threat actors realized that there's money to be made with distributing viruses, or there's revenue to be lost by organizations. Going forward, you're going to continue seeing an increase both in frequency and sophistication of these types of viruses.
And do you think these types of viruses or ransomware or RAS is the biggest threat to cybersecurity on the horizon?
I think right now, what you're seeing in cybersecurity is you've heard the numbers, there's 3.5 million open cybersecurity positions worldwide. I think, 600,000 or 700,000 in the United States. There's a skills shortage. So the way that can be addressed is it's kind of twofold. I think educational institutions need to continue and actually expand their offerings of cybersecurity programs, cybersecurity education programs. But then on the business side, businesses need to target individuals that can transition into cybersecurity roles, with proper training and, certification, and then support their training initiatives, whether it's boot camps or workshops or online training platforms or even cross-train. What organizations need to do is look outside of IT. There are individuals that are more than capable to be successful in cybersecurity that might come from legal or risk management or even your training team. So, look outside of IT as well.
And you mentioned the skill set. What do you think it takes to be a successful security professional?
I'll answer this two separate ways. I think to be a successful leader, there are personality traits that leader needs to have to be successful. I think first, they need to remember to breathe, not panic. Remember that data should drive decisions rather than emotions. Second, is passion. Remembering that life is intended to be limitless. Persistence. With persistence, remembering that, no, more often than not means not now. Remembering that what you focus on, you'll achieve. Me personally, I throw everything in my calendar. If it's important for me, I'm going to put it on the calendar and then I'll get it done. Surround yourself with people smarter than yourself. They'll challenge you. If you're the smartest one in a room, better off leaving that room. Have coaches, mentors, and sponsors. A coach will talk to you, a mentor will talk with you, and a sponsor will talk about you. In order to grow and expand as a leader, you need to be uncomfortable. You need to be vulnerable. And lastly, and most important, you have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Right? But, I think, to be a successful leader, you need to understand what cybersecurity truly is. Okay. So as leaders, what we want to do is we want to present the risk back to the business, because then they can take that and they know their value or benefit. Now they have their risk or exposure and they can make that determination. Is the value worth the risk? The whole value proposition.
Yeah. And kind of moving back to the tech side, in your opinion, what is the best way to defend against a cyber attack?
I think first you need to realize that incidents and breaches will occur. They will. So our job as leaders is to, limit the frequency and limit the impact. But how you actually, address a cyber attack or prepare for a cyber attack. I like to think of the analogy, the three-legged stool analogy. Okay, so you have one leg that's technology, you have one leg that's documentation, and you have one leg that's culture. So you kind of need all three, otherwise you're going to fall. So on the technology side, we're all aware of this as IT professionals. That's where you have your strong passwords and your multi-factor authentication, and you have your network segmentation to make sure you have backups and restores, and you have your security awareness training, and retired legacy systems and all that sort of stuff. Those roll off, but I think it gets more tougher when you start thinking about the other two legs. Okay, documentation. Make sure you have up-to-date and accurate business impact analysis, and business continuity and disaster recovery plans, and incident response playbooks, and downtime procedures and the like, which leads to the last one, which is culture. Your organization needs to feel comfortable that if there is such an attack, there is an event, they're going to be able to proceed. So the way you get them comfortable is drill it, practice it, do tabletop exercise. The more comfortable they are, the more successful you're going to be when you experience some type of negative event.
Yeah. And speaking of negative events, what type of data breaches or exploits do you worry about most? What keeps you up at night?
I like the analogy that I sleep like a baby. I cry myself to sleep every 2 hours. But we're thinking about the different types of attacks that worry me. Really, the biggest one is one that actually takes down any of our critical systems, takes it offline. I'm in healthcare. Okay. So any offline system has the ability to impact patient lives in a negative manner. So, that's what really worries me.
Yeah. And I see some sports memorabilia behind you. So I know you've got passions outside of work. If you weren't in cybersecurity, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't in cybersecurity, I'd be a teacher. I do find it rewarding educating those that really want to learn.
Would you teach tech or would it be something else?
Probably something else. I have a lot of hobbies outside of technology. I love working with my hands, working outside, that sort of thing. So yeah, it would probably be something outside technology. I love technology, but I'd love to kind of branch out and learn something a little different. Again, get a little uncomfortable and force me to grow.
Sure. Well, I really appreciate you sitting down with me this morning, Brian.
Megan, before we go, you and I were exchanging messages, over the past week, and you were still pushing to get your training done, even while being under the weather. And I looked at myself and I'm like, what's your excuse? Love running. But I took off between the holidays saying, yeah, I need a break, forgetting that I'm my best person when I exercise. My mind is there. I have more energy. So I'm like, she's pushing through this. What am I doing? So you got me back to running, when I didn't need a break. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you can tell my voice is a little scratchy still, uh, but, but I ran 4 miles this morning, so I'm back at it. And as always, if our audience has any questions I should ask during a future episode of Speed Data, please email me at pr@varonis.com. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Thank you, Megan.